Good evening and welcome to the Friday edition of Source 16 News at 10. Thanks for joining us. Well, we now have more information on the accidental death of a 15-year-old Amish girl who tragically drowned in a pond in Pembroke this afternoon. The girl has been identified as Sadie King Smoker of Trenton. After more than 2 hours on the scene at 471 Anderson Lane, Christian County search and rescue teams located the body of the girl.
She was located at 425. The initial call came in at 159, and she was located at 425 by the rescue team.
Graham also talked to us about the events that led up to the Amish teen's untimely death.
She was in a boat with two other girls, and the boat capsized, and all three of them were in the water. They were able, some bystanders were able to get two of the girls out, but this one went underwater and they never could locate her.
Multiple agencies were on the scene assisting with the recovery efforts.
Of course, with it being an initial rescue attempt, air evac, Hopkinsville Ambulance, Christian County Rescue, Pembroke Fire Department, and of course we notified the Area 2 dive team to send resources as well. After about an hour, went into a recovery mode.
Funeral services will be held Monday morning at 9 o'clock at the family's home at 2470 Cemetery Road in Trenton, with burial to follow in Meadowview Cemetery in Christian County. Visitation will be Saturday from noon until 7 o'clock Sunday night at the home. Maddox Fuqua Hinton Funeral Home of Hopkinsville is in charge of arrangements. The 15-year-old is the daughter of Isaac and Melinda King Smoker, and she attended the Old Order Amish Church. A Christian County Sheriff's deputy is accused of shooting a family's dog yesterday, and the family is wanting an apology and the truth about the incident. There are always two sides to any story, and here's both sides of this story.
When Sergeant Radford approached the house, he was met by a very large canine. A German Shepherd came out from the front of the house. Sergeant Radford describes the dog as being aggressive. He was growling, showing his teeth. Sergeant Radford then began to back up to try to get back into his cruiser. And according to Radford, the dog lunged toward his legs, got approximately a couple feet away. At that point, Sergeant Radford pulled out his service weapon and fired the service weapon toward the ground to where the dog's area was. Now, the dog was hit in the nose, and my understanding is the dog is missing a couple of teeth. The dog was taken by family members, I believe, to Skyline Animal Clinic. We assured them that go ahead and have the surgery. You'll get paid for the surgery no matter what, even if we have to pay for it, because that's just a humane thing to do.
My problem with what happened is there's a wrong done that I feel like someone needs to take responsibility for it, not just financially, but I believe there's an apology in order, because anytime any police officer, the first thing you do, you pepper spray first, or then you tase, then you shoot. You don't pull your gun first and then ask questions later. That's not an acceptable behavior. I mean, I wouldn't think it was an acceptable behavior for something like that. And if there was a case where there was an aggressive dog, which ours isn't, I wouldn't expect them not to defend themselves. But in this situation, that wasn't the case. He didn't have an aggressive bone in his body, and the fact that someone can just come to your home and shoot your animal in your driveway and suffer no consequences is, that there's something wrong with that I can't sleep with. I can't handle that being okay. For me to be okay with it, I know in my heart, and I know that dog, the only thing that's aggressive about him is his size. He just looks big. I appreciate the fact that they, were paying the surgical bills to take care of Dino's surgery. But that's not enough. That's not enough. Our family's in a lot of pain over this, because, he was part of our family. He's just an extension of family. He's like another child. We're very sorry that the situation happened. It was unavoidable, and we're glad that the dog is doing good. We have no ill feelings toward the dog. We're glad that the dog is doing better. So, our main concern right now is just to make sure that everybody has the facts.
My whole reasoning for talking to the media and things like that is so that this doesn't happen again. It needs to be addressed so that another family doesn't have the pain that we went through over this. And, it needs to be something that they look at and say, hey, maybe we need a little more training in this area, or, whatever they need to do to keep, such a drastic measures for something that, shouldn't have been such a terrible situation. It could have been absolutely avoided, and it was just an unnecessary, cruel act.
Now, I also spoke with a neighbor, Pam Ezel, who said she had never seen the dog jump on anyone. In addition, I spoke with Tiffany Hayes, who witnessed the deputy shooting Dino, who stated Dino is not a bad dog. He doesn't growl, or bark, or even jump on anyone. She said Dino just came around the car and the deputy pulled his gun from his holster and shot him. Now, Captain Miller also told me that they believe and stand by the deputy's statement of what occurred. The family told Source16 they just want a heartfelt apology from the deputy, as well as the truth of the circumstances leading up to the family's pet being shot. The family also told Source16 that they are planning on filing a complaint against Sergeant Radford. In other news, the former Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, will be stopping at Fort Campbell later this month to sign copies of his new book. Rumsfeld has been visiting military bases nationwide to promote the sale of his book, New York Times #1 best-selling memoir, Known and Unknown. Proceeds go to the charities supporting those serving in the military and their families. Rumsfeld will be at the local Army post to sign his book on Friday, May 27th. Well, due to recent flooding, a Hopkinsville Water Environment Authority pump station located on Hearst and Dawn Drive has reportedly been overflowing with sewage. Source16 spoke to HWEA Director of Operations Derek Watson about the problem and how the utility company is handling the issue.
For the Oakhurst station, since both of the pumps in the Oakhurst station had just recently failed, what we plan to do is actually replace those pumps with new pumps, and we're also going to upsize the pumps a little bit in order that they can actually carry more product that comes to them. We also have plans in our SRF Phase 7, which our City Council just approved. We also have plans to go into that area and actually study the area and find out why there is so much stormwater getting into the sewer utility that comes specifically to that pump station.
According to Watson, sewage pumping out of the station happens on occasion when there is severe weather.
If you have a tremendous amount of rain in a short period of time, it can overwhelm the not only the stormwater system but also the sewer utility. The rainwater just finds its way into the sewer utility either through manholes or through broken pipes for some reason, like if someone tore a house down years ago and for whatever reason they did not do a good job of sealing that pipe that served that home, then groundwater can find its way into the pipes.
He also says that HWEA takes every concern from area residents seriously.
We absolutely want to know in instances where, we're familiar with the areas that cause, that commonly overflow. We're familiar with those areas, and those areas are normally areas that are right next to the river or next to a sinkhole.
There are currently 88 pump stations throughout Hopkinsville. Madisonville Mayor announced this afternoon that this year's budget is $3.9 million less than the previous year and includes cuts in operating costs in the general fund of $701,000. Mayor David Jackson says the budget also allows for a decrease in the transfer from the electric department of $250,000 and still meets the obligations of the old policeman's and fireman's pension fund and the increase to the county employees' retirement system. According to Mayor Jackson, this budget, which generates a surplus of over $730,000, is made possible by the hard work and commitment of City Council members, the administration, and department heads, and he commended everyone for their commitment to reducing the burden placed on Madisonville citizens by city government. A North Carolina man was arrested last night in connection to an attempted robbery at a Hopkins County convenience store. Around 7:05 last night, Kentucky State Police were called to the Kangaroo Express on Kentucky 70 and Beulah for an attempted robbery. The clerk reportedly told police that a white male had entered the store and stated that he did not want to hurt them and that he had a gun. Police say the clerk was able to escape to the outside of the store and the suspect fled from the scene in a vehicle. About 20 minutes later, police stopped the vehicle matching the description of the suspect's vehicle on US 41A south of Providence. The driver, 59-year-old Jerry Trammell of Garner, North Carolina, was arrested by state police and charged with speeding and carrying a concealed deadly weapon. Today, he was charged with first-degree robbery. Trammell is lodged in the Webster County Detention Center. A former Fort Campbell soldier charged with selling machine guns and explosives to an undercover agent last year was sentenced in federal court yesterday. According to U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Kentucky, David Hale, Eric Waldman, a former active duty infantryman with Company A, 1st Battalion, 506th Infantry, was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison, followed by 2 years supervised release. Court records indicate that Waldman had previously entered a guilty plea to 3 counts of a federal indictment on September 14, 2010. According to court records, the former infantryman sold a special weapons model SW-59 9mm machine gun to an undercover alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agent for $5,500 on January 17th of last year in Christian County. The indictment further alleges on June 7th of last year in Christian County, Waldman sold a Kahari Arms Model CA-94 machine gun and a Claymore mine to an ATF agent for $10,000.